Hey, thanks for joining us today on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across Texas today. Let's go ahead and jump into that forecast. Maybe let's take a look at the clicker here. What is going on with our clicker today? Okay, there we go. We've got some graphics now. Okay, so you see the headlines on the screen. Texas soakers turn to severe storms. Yes, that is what we're tracking today, mainly storms down in Texas. But we also have several risks across the plains and those sizzling temperatures across the northwest, but all the way down into the plains as well. You're going to see temperatures warm up over the next few days. Some could reach 110 out in the desert southwest. So we are talking about a scorcher moving into the U.S. Let's talk about that storm risk for today. We've got storms up in the northern Rockies. We've got storms up in northern Iowa all the way into places like Milwaukee. And then we've got storms down in Texas, even a few ongoing storms right now out in North Carolina. So just about every corner of the country has some sort of storm risk today. Taking a look at Texas, you've got another risk for storms tomorrow, another risk across the northern plains, both tomorrow and Friday. So let's see what did we see over the last 24 hours. Then we'll get into your forecast today. Definitely some wind across the south and east yesterday. That came with a tornado warning out in places like Charleston, South Carolina. We got a lot of rain down in Texas. Now, one thing to note about all of the rain that we got yesterday, the soil is pretty moist down there. So if we get more rain, where does that water go? Where that water runs off from the soil and onto the roadways. And that's what's really going to aid in our flooding for today. So we saw storms across San Antonio late last night into Dallas early this morning. We told you guys, watch your morning commute out in Dallas. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. We still have a stationary front just kind of sitting over Texas right now. And that's going to help to initiate more storms as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. So those storms that you got down in Texas and Houston just about an hour or two ago, you're going to see even more storms on top of that today. But let's kind of do a little round the radar here and let's see what storms we have on the radar currently. We've got a few showers down in Florida. We've got one severe thunderstorm warning, I think, still ongoing across North Carolina. Pretty quiet right now across the plains. And then we've got a few more showers and storms out in the northwest. Temperatures right now pretty warm for most, 70s and 80s as you head out to your lunchtime. Now let's just very quickly kind of go through some of these storms that we've got in Texas right now. If you live on the east side of Dallas, or if you work rather right along 45, that's where we've got storms ongoing in places like Palmer. Nothing severe here, but we do have some really good downpours, heavy rain happening farther down to the south into places like Crockett, all the way down into Houston. If you continue to track farther to the south here, we can see storms just to the east of Houston at this time. And then as we head on to the east coast, do we have a severe thunderstorm warning anymore on the east coast? No, it looks like that has been allowed to expire. So just one warning is what we've seen so far. Alrighty, let's talk about that storm risk today because we could see more severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe even a tornado warning later on this afternoon and evening. What about the hail risk first? Well, we're watching for that hail risk mainly down in southern Texas, but then we've got another risk up to the northern portion of Iowa into places like Milwaukee. So you're going to see some of those yellows kind of come into the map here. So what we're watching for larger hailstones will be those yellows and those oranges onto our map today. I know that we've got an okay risk for hail out in places like Wyoming. I think it's a pretty low chance to actually see any larger hailstones out there. Really what we're watching for is southern Texas and Iowa for today for those larger hailstones. How large are we talking here? I would say anywhere between golf ball to hen egg sized hail for the largest hailstones today. Where are we seeing those large hailstones? Again, down in southern Texas, San Antonio, Waco, Houston, all included in this. Basically anywhere south of I-20, that is where we see those largest hailstones. I think that Houston probably has the greatest chance to see golf ball, maybe hen egg sized hail for today. You just have round after round of rain, anywhere from Austin to Houston today. So you're going to get not only that flood risk, that's going to be your biggest risk for today, but also that tornado, hail, and high wind risk. And we'll get to the tornado, we'll get to the wind risk here in just a few minutes. But there's your hail forecast down in Texas. Let's go up to the northern plains. We've got anywhere from northern Nebraska all the way out to northern Iowa and into southern Wisconsin. Sioux Falls, Milwaukee, I'm keeping you guys at a level 2 risk for maybe up to ping pong ball size hail, highlighted there in orange. Now you go a little bit farther to the west, and again, I didn't spend too much time in the northern Rockies here. I really think that we're going to have a very low risk for hail in this area, and really what we're going to see out to the east coast from Wilmington all the way up to Virginia Beach is some wind storms. I think it'll be more of a wind bag over here, 60, maybe 65 mile per hour storms in this area. Now before I move on, we always have questions about our hail forecast. No questions today. I'm shocked. Put your questions in the comments section, and I can see those on the side of the screen, and we'll answer those questions as we go throughout our forecast here. Now let's talk about the wind forecast for today. So as I mentioned earlier, 65, maybe 70 mile per hour wind speeds with some of these storms today. Virginia Beach, Wilmington, yeah, you could see some of those higher wind speeds, but I really don't think that we're going to see anything higher than 70, maybe 75 miles an hour, very, very isolated. You know, we saw stuff like that down in southern Texas yesterday, so it's possible, but I think it's going to be extremely isolated. Really, this is going to be a lower wind event, you know, 60, 65 mile per hour wind speeds and some smaller hail. Moving off to the northern Rockies here, we've got Billings and a low risk for maybe some marginal wind. Now, one thing that I absolutely want to note today is we do have a level 1, a very low tornado risk, but every now and then with these lines of storms, we could get embedded spin-ups in there. And again, a spin-up, we call these quick spin-up tornadoes. I think oftentimes people associate that with weak tornadoes. That is not the case. They're just very fast-moving tornadoes. They'll touch down and then they'll pick back up, and then they'll touch down and then they'll pick back up. And we've seen that a lot here lately. So that will be the case anywhere from Houston all the way out to San Antonio today, mainly this afternoon. But you know what? Let's just show you timing here. Let's not talk about it. Let's show you the timing for storms today. Here's a look at your future radar. I think we're going to go down into Texas. Let's see here. Where's our Texas radar? Right. Okay, let's start out to the East Coast and then we'll go down to Texas. All right, we have ongoing storms right now right along the East Coast. This will continue as we head into the afternoon and evening hours today. Let's go out to, I think we're going to go to the plains next. Oh, now we're going down to Texas. We've got so many areas of storms today. It's hard to keep them all tracking all of them, right? It's a good thing that we have many meteorologists here at Hail Trace, not just myself. All righty, moving on here. Again, down in Texas today, widespread scattered showers and storms, which are going to bring some heavy rains in this area. And what that means is that flooding risk is going to be at a level 3 on a scale of 4. So a really significant flooding risk in this area for today. We are talking about some hailstones every now and then. You could see embedded tornadoes in this line as well. We've got storms ongoing right now, but I mentioned that timing could be, will continue into the afternoon and evening hours. So look, we still have storms ongoing as we head into the overnight hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Now let's go on up to our northern plains. We're talking about northern Iowa into southern Wisconsin here. We've got some storms out to the west right now, but we will see more storms moving into this area as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Some of these storms could cause a risk into the overnight hours tonight and also into early tomorrow morning. It's like these storms just kind of ride a train track right along the state line here, anywhere from the northern portion of Iowa all the way out to Milwaukee, right along Highway 90 there. So that's what we're watching for today. We've got another risk for storms across the plains tomorrow, but before we get to that risk tomorrow, I do want to return to that flooding risk, right? Because we talked about how intense that flooding risk is for today. We are all the way down to a level 3 for numerous flash floods likely today. Where is that at? That's right in the heart of Texas. Go all the way down into Austin. That is where we see the highest likelihood for flooding. As I mentioned, we had storms yesterday in this area. So a lot of areas, the soil is soaked. Now we got more water on top of that. Where does that water go? Right onto the roadways, into that spot in your neighborhood that always seems to flood. That's what we're talking about today. Try to avoid those areas as we continue to see rain through this evening and overnight hours tonight, even into tomorrow morning. We could still be seeing water runoff here. Dallas in a level 2 risk for flooding today. Houston and San Antonio all in that level 2 risk for flooding today. But again, Waco and Austin in a level 3 risk. Tomorrow, we continue to see this pattern shifting off to the east, so including central and east Texas here, also including the northern plains and portions of the Midwest. By Friday, we have another risk for flooding all the way through the Midwest and into places like Arkansas. So we are not getting rid of this flooding risk anytime soon. Now, what about the storm risk, right? We talked about too much water, but what about the hail, wind, tornado risk? Well, once again, another risk for storms down in Texas on Thursday, up to the northern plains as well on Thursday, northern plains for Friday. And hey, Denver may even slide into a little risk there. I know a lot of people ask about Denver. Oklahoma City, Denver, Wichita, all included in that risk on Friday. Now, before I move on, because we do have some other graphics talking about hurricane and dust and heat, before I move on, do we have any questions today? We have a very quiet group today. I'm shocked that we don't have any questions on here. We usually have lots of questions, usually about Denver and usually about Omaha as well, and we have not had any of those questions. Well, I'll move on. Let's talk about the heat now. Are you ready for that summertime heat? I don't know if I am yet, but it's above average out to the Midwest today. We've got temperatures above average for a good portion of the northern portion of our U.S. Some cooler temperatures trying to move into places like Oklahoma, Texas, the Dakotas, get a little bit of a break from the summertime heat. But overall, what we're seeing is an above average trend, hotter than normal trend through the middle to late portion of June. But if we look even farther than that, from June to July into August, this is your summertime heat map. We are most likely going to stay above average, so hotter than average for this summer. And speaking of summer, we also are looking for the hurricanes to start up pretty soon. I mean, we've already seen Pacific hurricanes starting up. We haven't seen anything out in the Atlantic yet, but I'll take you to the Atlantic here in just a few minutes. What we have seen are 3 named storms so far out in the Pacific. You've got Cosme, you've got Barbara that was just downgraded to a tropical depression yesterday. And now what we're watching for is we've got 2 more areas that we are keeping an eye on that will most likely be our next named storms by this weekend. So I think that next named storm was Delilah. I think that that's the next named storm down in the Pacific. Now let me take you from the Pacific to the Atlantic. What we're watching for in the Atlantic, it's not hurricanes, but rather dust. Look at this dust that's coming off of the Saharan out in Africa, traveling all the way across the ocean and expected to impact Florida. What you're going to see out in Florida are some hazy skies, maybe some poor air quality. As we end this week and move into the weekend, you will see some of those hazy, you know, those like milky skies that make the sunset all red. That's most likely what you'll see down in Florida from all of that Saharan dust moving in. So I told you we would talk a little bit about tropical activity. Maybe not hurricanes, but we'll talk about the dust impacting our airways here. Other than that, that's your forecast for today. I see a few comments on here saying, hello, are we an Oklahoma news channel? So we are based in Oklahoma. Thank you for asking. Great question there. However, we cover the entire U.S. So any weather that is happening across the U.S., we have 17 meteorologists here at Hail Trace, and I guarantee you at least one of them has their eye on that weather, if not all of them. I mean, we talk about weather just 24/7 here at Hail Trace. So we cover the entire U.S. Great question there. Alrighty, let's move on. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Threads, LinkedIn, you name a social media, we're probably on it. And give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map. We map all kinds of storms across the country. So give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com for more information, or even head over to our website. Alrighty, if there are any big storms today in any big cities, we will be back on here to cover it live for you. If not, we'll be back here for your forecast as we are every day at noon tomorrow. We'll see you back here then.